Good evening, guys. Hey, coming at you from St. Louis. Wanted to give everybody a heads up on what's going on in St. Louis next week, just in case you know people that are from the St. Louis area. Guys, I'll tell you what, so many times all of us in this organization have been a little frustrated thinking, why aren't things moving faster? Why is it taking so long to get legislation passed? Why is it taking so long to get change? Tell you what, guys, we are there right now. The change is definitely coming. And I don't know how many of you have heard the story of Mel Fisher, but Mel Fisher was a scuba diver. After World War II, he opened up a scuba shop out in Southern California. Had a TV show out there. He was pretty much one of the first people that really got scuba diving really going across the country. But started reading a book one day about sunken treasures down in the southern coast of Florida, and read about and I forget what it is, the wreck of the Nostra Aetia or Atocha or something like that. But that supposedly was one of the best shipwrecks that had ever happened. And he became so curious about it, started really diving into studying it, and eventually talked his whole family and a couple of his friends into selling everything they owned. Moved down to Florida, southern Florida, and can you imagine somebody talking all their friends into selling everything and moving into him to find the sunken treasure from, I think it was 1632 that this thing had actually sunk. It was coming back, one of the Spanish ships coming back from Mexico, and supposedly it's sunken with the largest amount of treasure ever. And so they moved down to southern Florida. They start doing some research and start doing some dives and spend 2 years going out every day, only to discover, Leslie, yes, today's the day. Somebody already knows the story there. But yeah, after 2 years, he comes across some new research to find out that, oops, he'd been doing it in the totally wrong area. He was not even close to where the ship had actually wrecked. And it's sort of like what happens with us. You know, sometimes there's times different states have tried to get legislation passed, and they come to a stumbling block, and somebody will be like, oh, that's a failure. I know last week I talked about one state in particular that in 2014 went about things the wrong way. There aren't anything wrong with that. What we need to do is readjust. Plan, do, check, adjust. Figure out, okay, we did something. It didn't work the way we planned. What we need to do is just shed our egos and say, what do we need to do to move forward with this? So after 2 years, he figures out he was in the wrong place and changes his strategy. Then he starts doing some more. At the 3-year mark, they find an anchor and 2 gold bars. Unfortunately, the government found out about it. And I won't say what a lot of us are already thinking, but the government comes in, confiscates the anchor and the 2 gold bars. And then they said if he wanted to continue to do more research or do more dives, they had to have agents on all the boats. They had to pay for those agents. They had to pay for insurance for those agents. Oh, and by the way, the agents can't work the hours that Mel Fisher was used to working, which was sometimes 12 and 14-hour days. They could only do 8-hour days. And not only that, but they also had to change a bunch of the working conditions. So he goes through and starts doing this, and after a couple more years, started finding a few other things, and some other treasure hunters or the bar association comes in and starts spreading rumors that what he's finding is fake, it's not real. Started spreading all kinds of rumors about him, and ends up selling his house, because by this time he's starting to lose everything. So he sells his house to move on to a houseboat, comes across 3 silver bars. This is at the 5-year mark. Once again, the government finds out about it. They cancel his lease. They come in. Matter of fact, the state senator of Florida flipped him off as he's driving away in the boat with the 3 gold bars. Yeah, a lot of us can relate to different things. But SEC starts an investigation into him. They shut him down. In 1973, he's totally broke at this point. He lost everything. Finally gets a few more dollars together to try and start going back. And a couple years later, his son died on one of the boats. They had a tragedy on one of the boats, and he lost his son. And that's the way a lot of us feel. You just keep feeling like, my gosh, we just keep going. All these states keep trying to get legislation passed, but it doesn't really seem like we're getting close to the true, the holy grail, if you will, the 50-50 rebuttable presumption. It just doesn't seem like we're going to get to that Title 4D and really get that struck down. And realize, guys, this was basically just one guy, and after 17 years of basically every day, this guy had lost everything. Had lost his home, he had lost everything, raised his kids on a sunken ship, and but 17 years later, July of 1985, they get the message that says, put the charts away, we hit the mother lode. And it was mother lode. 1,041 silver bars. They were 4 feet high and 20 feet long, still in the original stack. 80 pounds per bar, every single bar, 1,000 of them. 230,000 silver coins, over 3,000 emeralds, some of them as large as golf balls. They estimate the total load was worth around $400 million. Now, the load that we're shooting for is worth a lot more than money. You can't put a price on, of kids being able to have equal access to both their parents. Now, I'm not saying we're ready to hit the mother load this year, but guys, we are getting close. We are getting so close right now. And I'm excited because next Monday here in St. Louis, we're going to be doing something that's going to benefit every state. Because I know some of you watching this, you're thinking, well, you guys are in St. Louis, I'm in another state, how is that going to benefit me? Trust me, it's going to benefit you. We are putting together something that's going to be the shot heard around the world. There are going to be a lot of people sitting up and paying attention, a lot of legislators in other states. So what you need is just like the 4-minute mile. You need somebody to break through, and all of a sudden there's a ripple effect. A lot of states, time after time we hear stories of people saying, hey, I called my legislator and I just couldn't get them to sponsor a bill. I tried this, I couldn't get their attention. What legislators love to hear is that there's other states that are very, very interested. Well, next Monday, I think a lot of you know I've got a lot of connections after 30 years of politics in the state of Missouri. And so I've got a few of my friends to help us out, put together a function next Monday night. It's going to be at 6:50 next Monday night. And there's the Father's Rights Movement is teaming up. So is Leading Women for Shared Parenting. Terry Brennan's organization is going to be tapping in also. But we've got some pretty powerful people coming. I want you to listen to some of these lineups. Any one of these by themselves would have made a great event. But to have this many people all in one room at the same time, guys, if we start sharing some videos that we're going to put out next week, and we just start sharing the snot out of those things all over the place, I'll tell you what, there's going to be legislators sitting up and paying attention, and media sitting up and paying attention. Number one, we have Representative Catherine Swan. She has been one of the biggest leaders helping to aggressively push the shared parenting legislation in the state of Missouri. Not just somebody that puts her name to something. She has actively been working on this for us. We've got Representative Paul Kurtman. And I can't say what yet, but there's going to be a major announcement coming in the next 2 weeks. And it's going to be powerful to have had Paul at our event. That is going to be extremely powerful for all of us on a national level. We've got Representative Gloria Brown. She was on the Families and Services Committee here in the state of Missouri. She's also on the Legislative Oversight Committee here in Missouri. We got a real good buddy of mine, Senator Andrew Koenig, I'm sorry. It's going to be coming. I always call him Andy, but his formal name is Andrew. But Senator Andrew Koenig's going to be coming. We've got Representative Dean Plocker. We've got Representative Marcia Hafner, who's another up-and-comer, and I believe she's going to be making another announcement sometime in the next couple months. We've got Representative Derek Greer. We also have Suzanne Venker. For any of you that have read some of the articles in Newsweek and Huffington Post and some of these, she's probably one of the most published authors in magazine articles regarding shared parenting. She's written several books. If you go to her website, you'll just see a laundry list of all the different TV shows she's been in. She's been on The View, she's been on the Tonight Show, she's been on all kinds of different things. We got Paul Berry III, very good personal friend of mine here in St. Louis. Paul hosts a TV show called Show Me Missouri, or Show Me Politics in Missouri. It's syndicated all around the entire state, but he's going to be making a pretty big announcement. He's going to be getting a national radio show, and he's also going to be on the board of directors for me for the Americans for Shared Parenting. He's also, any of you that are Chuck Berry fans, Chuck Berry was his uncle. The one that just passed away. We've also got the Missouri legislative team. We've got Linda Reutzel, who's credited with being, if not one of the first, if not the first, then definitely one of the first that really got things rolling in the state of Missouri. She's going to be talking about the Shared Parenting Conference that we had up in Boston. We've got Jeremy Roberts. Most of you every week hear me mention his name. He's going to be there. He'll be the speaker at the one we're having in September. He won't speak, but at least you'll get a chance to see him at this particular event. And then, like I said, he's going to be one of the keynote speakers in September talking about the legislation. We've got Kenneth Goings, who's an attorney. We're all proud of Kenneth in Missouri. He's actually going to be speaking at a continuing education course for attorneys in the state of Missouri at the end of this month. So that is just really neat that we have one of our own team members that's going to be giving a presentation at a major continuing education conference in the state of Missouri. I can't remember if I left anybody out. I know we've got all kinds of media. I've been speaking to different media about every other day. I get a call from different people that are wanting to attend. So we're going to get quite a bit of media coverage. But just so you know, it's a week from tonight, Monday, July 17th. For those of you that are coming, some very important things that you need to know. So please watch the last couple of minutes here as I start wrapping things up. But we need you there by about 10 minutes to 7. We've got a lot of material to cover, so we really want to try and start on time. And to be able to hustle everybody into the room, we got to make sure you get there early. So please, please, please try and get there about 15 minutes early and grab a seat. You need to RSVP. There may be certain instances where you can't, but the challenge that we're having is I booked the room at a community center, and their biggest room is only so big. There's no walls that we can expand. Once it's full, and there's no way to pack any other people in there. Now, if we knew for a fact we were going to have, say, 40 or 50 more people that wanted to attend, there is a hotel about a quarter-mile away, a Holiday Inn, that we can shift to. But I need to know within the next couple days if we need to make that shift. So if you're planning on coming and have not RSVP'd, please do that right away. As I said, I can change and get us a large room. I've got a room at the Holiday Inn that can hold up to 500 people, but I'm going to lose my deposit at the community center, and the Holiday Inn is quite a bit more for their room. So I just need to know as soon as possible. So please RSVP. On the Americans for Shared Parenting Facebook page, there's an event page. And I apologize, I don't know how to get the same page shared to all the different pages. So maybe somebody can do this. I don't know, Leslie, I see you're on here. I don't know if you can share it in the comments section. But if somebody can share the event page for, it'll say Americans for Shared Parenting Kickoff or something to that effect. So people can go on there and RSVP. It's going to be $10 at the door. Please bring cash ready, cash or check. We aren't set up for MasterCard or Visa yet, so it has to be cash or check. We are doing a photo op because the goal is to start raising funds. We've got a lot of things we're wanting to do, and we're going to start raising some money starting that night. We've got a lot of neat people in the room with all the different state reps and state senators and everybody in the Missouri team. So we're going to be doing a photo op for $100. I know for some people I think that's a lot of money, and if you don't have the money, I understand. Trust me, I'm still basically meal to meal at this point. So I understand what everybody's going through. Leslie, can you share the Facebook page though? Not the website, but the actual event page. So if you go to the Facebook page for Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, on there there'll be an event page. And you probably end up having to do that after I get done talking. But we'll add that in the comments section for somebody. I see Janie's going to try and do it too. But anyways, so I realize not everybody can afford $100, so don't feel bad if you can't. I understand. I'm there too, and if I wouldn't put the event on, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But realize every one of us brings different resources. Some people are able to be great at volunteering. Some people have the legislative connections. Some people have the legal expertise. Some people have the money. But what we want to make sure is each of us can put in whatever we can. There are some people who do have the 100. So I know some people are thinking, well, gosh, that's awful high. I almost feel offended. I apologize. I don't mean to offend you, but we've got to raise some money to get some things done. So we are having, it's $100 for a photo op, but that's going to be with all the special guests, and then you'll be standing in the middle with a picture of yourself with all the special guests there. So if you're interested in that, also please let me know. Send me either a private message or an email to let me know about that if you're interested in the photo op. For that, you're going to have to bring cash or check. So I wanted to tell you that ahead of time so you can bring that if you're interested. Let's see. That night we are going to be sharing a video at 8:30 that I'm going to be sharing. We're going to be having a really neat presentation that night of some people that did some pretty neat thing that deserve to be recognized for their efforts. And so we're going to have a video of that that's going to be shared. And what we need everybody doing is next Monday night, the 17th, at 8:30, if you can tune in to the Missouri Fathers' Rights Movement page. I'm also going to have it on the Americans for Equal Shared Parenting page. But if you remember the Fathers' Rights Movement, go ahead and turn onto this page at 8:30 Central Standard Time next Monday night. And we're going to have a video. Now, it's critical that you take that video and share it like crazy. Guys, they're going to be able to see all the different legislators in the room that night. That is going to make a lot of impressions on different legislators around the country, on different media people, to really give us some credibility that, hey, we've got a seat at the table. If that many legislators take time out of their summer on a weeknight, away from their families, away from everything, to come to an event, something's going on that really deserves to be talked about. So even if you're not in Missouri, trust me, people in your state need to see that something like that went on, and there's going to be a ripple effect. It's going to open some doors for you in your state. So please share the socks out of that thing next Monday night at 8:30. Also, if you're planning on going, please do me a favor. Check the Americans for Equal Shared Parenting Facebook page on Sunday and Monday, just in case we need to make a change. As of right now, we're still set up for the Sunset Hills Community Center. But if we get a flood of, say, another 50 or 100 people that want to go, we're going to shift just down the street. There's a Holiday Inn. So please go to the Facebook page and look. Frank, yeah, we are going to be doing a special live on the page, but I'll talk more about that next week. But we're going to share the video at 8:30 for everybody to see. But anyways, make sure that you check on Sunday and Monday of next week if you're planning on coming to find out were there any last-minute changes that we had to do that we need to get the word out. So please, 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 if you're planning on going, next Sunday and Monday, go to the Americans for Equal Shared Parenting Facebook page to see if there's any updates. But I tell you what, guys, just like the Mel Fisher story, you know, our time has come. We've got a seat at the table. We are getting so close to the treasure. And like I said, in my mind, our treasure's worth a lot more than $400 million. When you think of how many millions and millions and millions of kids are missing out on quality time with one of their parents right now, guys, we're getting close. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know for sure if it's going to be next year or if it's going to be the year after, but we're getting darn close, guys. So I appreciate all your support. If you know anybody in the St. Louis area, please tell them. I've already heard that there's people coming from Chicago. I heard of one person coming. I know there's some people coming from Springfield, Missouri. There's a lot of people coming from all over. But anyways, getting pretty excited. I've rambled long enough. But thanks again, everybody. Please go to the Americans for Equal Shared Parenting page to find more information about the event. But don't worry, if you don't catch, we're going to be videoing live next Monday on that Facebook page. But if you're not a part of that page, don't worry. I'm going to be sharing it on the Father's Rights Movement page at 8:30 next Monday night. Thanks again, everybody.